voting and feeling that you could be connected to her in some sort of way. Now, I also see the other side, which is people at this point now grappling to find some sort of kindredship to Kamala, whether it is aligning yourself to her Jamaican Indian roots, aligning yourself to her HBCU education, aligning yourself to her Alpha Kappa Alpha Black Greek affiliation, or aligning yourself to her Oakland upbringing, whatever it is. People have now been trying to, really figure out ways where they could somehow, I guess, see the good in Kamala, or at least attach to her. Good, bad, or indifferent, she is, in fact, the Democratic vice presidential nominee, which this week the DNC did formally grant her the nomination. Now, many of you are wondering, what is the big hubbubalub around Kamala? Why y'all don't like her for? I mean, how black do y'all want her to be? She went to Howard. She pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha. Her daddy is Jamaican and left the family by the time she was 6. How more black can she be? All right, so she married a white guy, and she was raised by her single Indian mom. And she lived a pretty decent life, right? By all intents and purposes. Well, a lot of people have hearkened back to Kamala's 2-time service as Attorney General in the District of San Francisco. Her terms lasted for about 7 years, from 2004 to 2011, and then again from 2011 to 2017. She also went on to serve as the state of California Attorney General before taking on the role of senator. Now, that's not the bad part of Kamala's tenure in California. I think the bad part is that a lot of people are hearkening back to her 2005 record of the Back on Track initiative, which, was a program that allowed people who, it was a recidivism program, basically. Now, recidivism is the likelihood that someone who has been incarcerated will go back to the system again, right? So she created this program, or helped to initiate the Back on Track program, which, allowed people who had served time to set goals towards employment and parenting and receiving education, etc. She also tackled racial bias and police brutality, but she also had some prison reform issues. Now, in 2011, the Supreme Court had to actually demand the state of California reduce its prison population by 33,000 inmates. That's because there was too many motherfuckers in prison in the state of California. Now, this is during her tenure, right? Which that can't be ignored. And she was sending thousands of black men to jail on often low-level offense crimes, non-violent crimes, non-violent second strike offenders, serving crazy amount of time. Now, for the Supreme Court to have to drop down and say, hey, man, you doing too much. Could you imagine the Supreme Court has to tell your state you got too many niggas in jail? Even her stance on marijuana. Now, she went on the Breakfast Club and pandered to Charlemagne and them about how she used to smoke a little bit of weed. Yeah, but that didn't stop her from being staunch on her idea of the use of recreational marijuana. Now, I don't disagree with her that drug selling does harm African American communities, but at this point, she has moved to now support the legal use of medicinal marijuana, but does not support anything beyond that. Know that, folks. So, for all of you people who only heard the Breakfast Club interview about Kamala saying, oh, yeah, she smoked a little bit for fun, what you're not hearing is the fact that she does not support recreational marijuana use. Now, is that enough for you to decide that you're not going to vote for her based off of what you already know about her ideas behind about around the prison system as well as the marijuana laws? In 2015, she actually called for an end to the federal ban on medicinal marijuana, but with her, she just stopped short of the term legalization. It wasn't until 2018 that she actually signed the Marijuana Justice Act with Cory Booker. Oh, you guys. I mean, there's other stuff. You know, the anti-truancy policy. You know, she's got a couple of things working against her. That anti-truancy policy actually ended up placing blame on parents within circumstances that were out of their control. Now, the law had surrounded her, had put into effect that it made it a criminal misdemeanor for parents to allow their children, meaning kindergarten through 8th grade, to miss more than 10% of their school days without an excuse. Now, parents and guardians of truant children could face up to a $2,000 fine or up to 1 year in jail. Right? Now, truancy is a huge problem, right? You want your kids to go to school. But we're not talking about the 8th graders of yesteryear. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers got 35-inch weaves, titties out to here, but they're still children. So yes, they're still cutting classes and they're doing stuff like that. And a lot of times, unfortunately, in the home, there isn't enough coverage and there is not the luxury of being able to say, I am going to be home by the time my kid gets home from school, and I'll be able to really be cognizant of the school day, even when my 13-year-old is outside of my sight. Could you imagine going to jail for a year because your kid had been skipping school? So let's just say that little plan backfired. Now, my real problem with Kamala is not even all of the stuff that she's done in the past. My real problem is, and I've said this before, running for president, running for any political job in this great nation should not allow you to tout what the other person is doing or not doing as your means to the end of the political process. So as I'm watching the DNC vice presidential candidate nomination for Kamala, the only thing I could think was, well, goddamn, bitch, what are you going to do for us? I love that you're talking about all the shit that Donald isn't and how you don't play that. Period, Pooh. I love that. But what you going to do? Like, we over here listening to all the shit Uncle Joe talking about, oh, and he ain't my uncle, bitch. Let me stop that, because that's not cute. Is talking a lot of, hey, man, I was on the right side of the law when this decision was made, right? Or I agree with this or that. But he's not really saying for concrete what he's finna do for our community. Kamala ain't saying for real concrete what she finna do for the black community. And that is in fact my problem. I don't care what you feel about Donald Trump. Because Democrat or Republican, nan one of you niggas haven't done shit for me. As a matter of fact, y'all both continue to disappoint. And I refuse to have another political season for the most important job in this country come and go where we elect another person on frivolity or on the idea of what their opponent has done, has not done, and will not do. What you gonna do? We got to start holding these people accountable. New York City has had a record-breaking number of homicides in the past couple of weeks. Now, I've been staying away from the news, only occasionally dipping in and out to just stay informed. But for the most part, it's just been too heavy for me, especially lately. I've been wanting to check out, baby. A bitch need an Airbnb by the water, bitch. If any of you hoes know any place where a bitch could go and not catch the oochie coochie la la la's, let me know. Okay? But with that said, I mean, if you haven't been staying informed, even locally as it pertains to where you reside, this presidential campaign is important. People are now, I am in a position currently where, I'm able to hire people, God, thank goodness, But what I'm realizing is people actually don't really want to work anymore. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this COVID time has really shown people, you know what? I actually don't need to work as hard as I've been working. And the real luxury is not being able to get this check. The real luxury is me being able to do whatever the fuck I feel, whenever the fuck I feel. Oh, but with every great liberty comes great responsibility. All right, so can we talk about Meg Thee Stallion real quick? You want to wait? Let's hold off. Okay, let's talk about her. So Meg Thee Stallion took to her Instagram live this week to discuss how Tory Lanez did in fact shoot her. He did. Tory Lanez shot the fuck out of Meg Thee Stallion. Now, for most of us, I don't think that is a secret. However, I think that to hear her just kind of come out and just say it like, hey, you know what, nigga, you shot me. I've been noticing, now there's a lot of weirdness surrounding this situation, right? Now, Meg took to her Insta stories this week to number one, tell you niggas to stop playing in her face and switching up the narrative about what happened on that fateful night and blaming her for either being a liar and falsifying, what indeed happened to her, or over exaggerating the intensity level of the situation. Now, in the situation, it is alleged that Meg had been shot. We've all suspected that it was by Tory Lanez. However, because no one actually came out and said everything and there was conflicting stories when the incident first broke, I think we all kind of, there were several people who rushed to judgment, even rushed to laughter as it pertains to the situation. But I think anybody with consciousness said, hey, listen, let's give the situation a time to shake out, because the truth always comes to the light, right? So we saw Tory chilling in a McDonald's in Florida. Odd, right? They get pulled over by the police, helicopters in the whole nine. Everybody's on the ground, on the sidewalk. However, everyone's released from jail and no charges have been currently filed, right? However, this girl is shot